What is happening, everybody? My name is Bright Life. This is my fancy shirt, and yes, before you say it, I do need an iron, and yes, I do have my V-neck very open, and there's really only one reason. It's because I'm a douchebag. And today I want to talk to you guys about Elder Scrolls Online. I got the chance to play this over the last couple weeks, and I've been developing a pros and cons list for the 2022 version of this game, and I really enjoy it. And so I want to talk to you guys about it, so let's jump into it. Okay, so here's how this works when I do a pros and cons list. What I like to do is I like to say a pro and then a con, then a pro and then a con, just because I think that kind of mixes it up. It doesn't make one part of the video like ultra positive and then one part ultra negative. It just kind of tells you the game that is. Now, just so you guys know as well, on stream on Wednesdays moving forward, we are going to be just playing different MMOs out there. So if you guys have suggestions for what games you'd like for me to play, go on ahead and let me know in the comments down below. But feel free to join us on these days because, of course, we're going to be using footage from those days. So if you want to make it into one of these YouTube videos in the chat, you are more than welcome to jump on in. We always have a lot of fun on stream. So be sure to go on ahead and follow me down on Twitch at the link below, and you can jump in on one of these things. Okay. Well, let's talk about Elder Scrolls Online as a meta kind of narrative. Elder Scrolls Online takes place in the world of Tamriel. It is an action combat MMORPG and very consistently sits atop the top 5 most populated MMOs out there, especially in the Western space. It is a great game that takes place in the world of Skyrim, Morrowind, and the entire Elder Scrolls system, and in my opinion is one of those games that if you liked Skyrim, if you liked Morrowind, you should play this game. It's really just that simple. It's really just like Skyrim, but add MMO on top of it. And so this game, for me, as a huge fan of Skyrim, does tick a lot of those boxes, and it has a lot of the pros and it has a lot of the cons of Skyrim as well. It doesn't necessarily fix anything that Skyrim had. There's still a lot of bugs, the combat is still iffy, and of course we're going to talk about that in this video. Okay, the first pro that you're going to notice when you jump into Elder Scrolls Online, I think, is really the extremely gorgeous world. This is a realistic MMO. This isn't like a cartoon-based MMO, and as such, they did a great job at this world. I mean, if you liked Skyrim, if you like that realism of the Skyrim space, Tamriel really does fulfill that for you. And there's so many different environments and zones in this game, but they just do a great job. I mean, this game really is well done from a world perspective. I think running around the vistas are really gorgeous. I think the world is a really fun place to be a part of. The storytelling within the zones, as we'll talk about, is fantastic. Just absolutely incredible. Amazing world. And so if you like gorgeous worlds, if you like really nice world building, I really think that you should at least give this game a quick try. Hey, real quick, before we jump into this pros and cons list, if you would do me a huge favor, just go ahead and hit that like button below. It helps me be seen by more MMO lovers out there. And if you love MMO RPG content, we do MMO news, we do reviews, we do comparisons. Please hit that subscribe button. We're on a track to 10,000 subscribers, and I'd love for you to join the family. Okay, let's jump into the video. All right, now let's talk about our first con, which is unfortunately the combat for me. Now, the combat in this game is action combat, and so when we talk about action combat, I'm always kind of thinking about the holy trinity of action combat RPGs, especially in the Western space, which would be New World, Elder Scrolls Online, and Guild Wars 2. And I think that when it comes to the combat in this game, while there are a lot of attacks and the build craft can be really fun, the combat just kind of feels weightless. It doesn't really feel like your hits do a lot of damage. It doesn't really feel like you're doing anything super fun with that action combat element. You're just kind of putting a circle on the ground that then an enemy stands in, they get a dot, or you're rushing in and hitting them with a couple of pokes. There's nothing like really excellent, like, wow, that's over the top cool. And I think that action combat RPGs have that ability to do so. I mean, if you look at something like a Black Desert Online, or even a Guild Wars 2, or a New World with the new Greatsword system, I think that the attacks make you kind of giggle. They make you go, oh, that's really fun. And I just don't think the combat does that here. Now, the combat is very Skyrim-ish. And so, in Skyrim, I think that the combat is fine and there's a lot of fun to it, but it's just not like the best combat in any RPG ever. And I think that kind of carries over to ESO. In fact, I think outside of like some of the monetization that we'll talk about in a moment, I think it's probably its biggest weakness, and it's the easiest change. I think that they could really do some things in the future with updates to make the combat better. But for me, when it comes to comparing it to Guild Wars 2, New World, even Black Desert Online, I just don't think it necessarily pulls off the coolest action combat system, which is a shame, of course, because to me, that is one of my favorite things about action MMOs. All right, pro number 2 is that the fully voice-acted quests and side quests are absolutely phenomenal. I mean, this is a great game when it comes to voice acting. This is a great game when it comes to questing. I think that one of the biggest compliments that I can give to this game is that the quests really aren't just like a fetch quest. Just go do this, go do that, go kill this many boars. The quests really have story. And again, kind of like along the lines of a Skyrim type game, when you get into this game and you really start going through the story, going through the zones, you're going to notice that the side quests are really engaging. They're very fun. The characters have a lot of spunk and personality. You actually find yourself caring about the side quests. You find yourself laughing at the side quests. When I first got into High Isle over the last couple of weeks, I had a side quest where I was going to go into a delve, and in front of most of the public delves, which is like, you know, the little mini dungeons in the game that you can do solo, they typically have a quest giver. Well, this quest that I got was from this guy who was a shepherd that lost his sheep. And as you start to go try to find his sheep within this monster infested cave, he gets more and more worried. But what you notice is that this guy is a little bit kind of creepy, I think, in how much he loves his sheep. Like, he's like, oh no, those ribs are a little bit too large for my sheep. Like, how do you know the size of your sheep's ribs? And he like really loves this sheep. And I know that the ESO writers are kind of trying to get you to laugh, but you kind of leave the quest going like, that was really fun and engaging, but also, is that guy okay? Like, is he doing weird things to that sheep? Should we have rescued the sheep, or was the sheep just running away from the shepherd? We don't really know. But it's really fun how these quests can bring you in. It really isn't just go kill 10 boars and maybe read the quest text. It's like, man, if you take time to really invest yourself into the story of these quests, you're really gonna have a great time, which I think is a huge pro, and it really helps build the world. All right, con number 2 is the price barrier to entry in this game. Now, unfortunately, this game does not have an easy way for you to just come try the game. I think of games like Lord of the Rings Online. I think of games like Guild Wars 2, Final Fantasy 14 that have great and easy just free trials. You can play dozens, if not hundreds of hours of the game completely for free. Elder Scrolls Online doesn't do that for you. Unfortunately, there's not even like a free trial for this game. I know sometimes they come out with special deals, but it's hard to look at somebody who is already committed to another MMO and say, hey, come try this game, because for them, here's what trying is gonna look like. You're gonna have to buy a $20 base game, and that's just the base game. That's the Tamriel Unlimited game. Then, if you wanna get access to the DLC chapters, which is anything outside of like the main one-track story quest, actually getting to go experience other zones and stuff, you're going to need to get the $15 a month subscription. So you're talking about a $20 box price plus $15 pretty much right away. You're gonna need that to really do it. And the crafting bag that they include within this $15 a month subscription is like extremely necessary. They just throw crafting materials at you with every single monster kill that you do. I think for every chest that you open up, you get like 4 different slots filled in your bag. You need this unlimited crafting carry-all bag. It's just basically necessary in this game, unfortunately. And so you're gonna need to get that. So that's $20 plus $15 a month, plus the High Isle expansion, which is the most recent one where all the players are, where all the dungeons are, is an additional $40 if you actually get into the game. So you're looking at an initial investment of $75 plus like $15 a month every month after that. And there isn't really just a way to experience this game for free. And I think that's a huge miss on the part of Elder Scrolls Online. I think they have built a top 5 MMO and on its own merit. It's really just that good. And the fact that you don't just allow players to try it, even just like the Tamriel Unlimited version of the game, is a real shame. I think that if they opened up that part of the game completely for free, then they would have a lot more players playing this game. And I really think that it would break the top 3 easily, because it really is that good of a game. All right, pro number 3 is the exploration in this game, which is absolutely fantastic. The exploration in this game is, I think, second to none. I think especially with the right add-ons, you can go and do all the delves in a map, you can do all the sky shards in a map, you can do all the lore books, and then at the end, you're gonna get rewarded with things like mounts, you're gonna get rewarded with things like achievements, and it's really, really satisfying. I would say that the delves, the public dungeons, the sky shards that you can collect, the public world bosses, all of this together puts together a world that makes you feel like you've been encouraged to and rewarded for exploration. And I think when it comes to an MMO, that's one of my favorite things to do. It's cool to just get lost in the world. And so I think that if you like exploration, if you like completionism, this game does not feel like a grind to complete. Every new delve is a new experience. Every new world boss is a little bit different in their dynamics, and they can be really challenging. The sky shards can be really fun to try to hunt down and find. And so I think that if you like the exploration version of like Skyrim, if you like the exploration piece of any other MMO, you're really, really gonna enjoy Elder Scrolls Online. All right, number 3, and we kind of all knew it was coming, is the unfortunate monetization policies of Elder Scrolls Online. Now fortunately with this con, Elder Scrolls Online is not pay to win. It really isn't that, which is good. You really can get to the highest level without being able to pay for it, which is great. However, the cosmetics that you really want, like the best looking cosmetics and the best looking mounts, are locked behind the cash shop. Now you may look at me and go, Bright Life, dude, that's pretty normal. Like most games, the coolest looking stuff is behind the cash shop. But unfortunately, that's not really how this works. Now, unfortunately, the best cosmetics and the best mounts are not locked behind like a $20 or $30 payment. They're actually locked behind loot boxes. That's right, the big L word, and no, not that one, loot boxes. The real bad, they're locked behind loot boxes, and so you really can't get these awesome mounts. You can't get the coolest transmogs without going through the loot box system. This loot box system is pretty scummy. A lot of people have gone on, like mathematicians on Reddit, which I don't know if people on Reddit are reliable, but we're gonna trust them for this one. And they've said that to get like the coolest mount, you're gonna have to typically spend at least $500, which is a lot of money for a mount, let's be honest. And so it's a bummer because you want your character to look cool. Transmog is the true end game for most MMOs. And so to have that locked behind $500 for one mount, or like I think they said like $700 for like one armor set, it's kind of ridiculous. And the problem with this is, to me, is that I think that you could just remove this restriction, put them directly into the cash shop for like $10, $15, $20, and I think the player base would be really happy. And I think whenever games resort to kind of scummy monetization like this, the gambling type monetization, the pay or suffer type monetization that like a Lost Ark or Diablo Immortal has, you make me feel like you don't actually have confidence in your world building. You don't think that I'm just gonna stick around and pay for this game because I love the world. You think that I have to kind of be tricked into it, which is really frustrating. So I think they could remove this pretty easily, but that is a pretty huge con for Elder Scrolls Online. All right, pro number 4 is the easy to utilize group finder and PvP systems. I love this in any game, and I know a lot of games have this, but it is worth mentioning that the group finders in this game are super easy to use. You get reward expedition supplies delivered right to your mailbox for doing these random things, whether you're a healer, tank, or DPS, which is nice for DPS classes, because sometimes they don't get those randomized rewards at the end of dungeons incentivized. So this is a really well-used system. It's a very popular game, so you're gonna really easily be able to get into an expedition. You'll really easily get into a PvP experience, and I personally like this. I love questing as much as the next guy, but I like to break it up sometimes and try different things, and Elder Scrolls Online really does offer you a lot of availability and a lot of options when it comes to trying to level up your character in different ways, which is really cool. All right, and piggybacking off of that pro for me is actually Cyrodiil, because you can level through this world versus world type experience, but it is a really, really well done PvP system in my opinion. Now, if you're familiar with Guild Wars 2's world versus world system, you're gonna be familiar with this one. Lots of keep sieges and different factions fighting for control over this massive continent, but that really is the operating word for me. It's massive. I mean, really, Cyrodiil is kind of like its own game in my opinion. I think that being able to play through this with the questing, with sky shards, with delves, they all exist within this open world PvP experience, which is a really cool touch. I've found that world versus world is really fun and accessible in Guild Wars, but it can sometimes feel a little bit small. It can feel very kind of cloistered together. But what's cool about Cyrodiil is it's massive. I mean, I think to run from one end of the map to the other would take you like 25 or 30 minutes. It's a really, really cool thing. And I think that there are certainly meta builds in here, and there's some problems with PvP, but in my experience playing with it, it's actually been really, really fun. And so kind of along with that dungeon finder, different ways to experience the game kind of thing, I think Cyrodiil, if you like open world PvP, I think you should really give it a try because it kind of feels like its own game, which is really cool. All right, the next con is that the UI can be a little bit frustrating. It can be just a bit frustrating to utilize. I'm not super mad at the UI, but every time I go into the UI myself, it feels a little bit strange. It can be kind of hard to navigate through all of the different things that exist on that little top bar up at the very top. Again, that's just more of a personal thing for me. And I know that what a lot of you guys are gonna say is like, well, just get an add-on to change that. But I will say this about add-ons, which is kind of another con for me, is that add-ons are a little bit of a pain to utilize in this game. In order to actually utilize the add-ons, even if you download something like Minion or CurseForge, you're gonna have to download all the different libraries that exist for add-ons. So all the Sky Shards libraries, all of the lore books libraries, the map libraries, and actually being able to go do those and then get the add-ons that you wanna get. Then you have to go into the game and it says it's missing a dependency. So you gotta stop the game, you gotta get that dependency, then you go back into the game. And it's just a really long process. I found that for me, actually going from zero to hero, from start to finish with add-ons in ESO probably takes around 20 to 25 minutes, which I think is way too long. I don't think it should take that long to get them all set up. I think that you should be able to simply download an add-on and then boom, it's right there. It's that way in World of Warcraft. If you're gonna have add-ons, I think it should be really that easy in this game as well. Again, it's more of a minor con. You're gonna get past it and then it's not gonna be an issue for you anymore, but I did find it to be a con just in my gameplay experience. I found myself kind of trying to figure it out for quite some time. All right, and the last two pros come together and really make Elder Scrolls Online, in my opinion, one of the greatest MMOs out there. I think these two pros alone, outside of all the other ones we talked about, are really important to how great the game is. And the first one, you know it, I know it, everybody knows it, is the champion point system. The champion point system is absolutely perfect. It is the best way to deal with alt-friendly progression. It's the best way to deal with vertical versus horizontal character progression, in my opinion. I think it's the best system out there. I wish that every game would take part in it, but if you don't know what the champion point system is, it is this. When you level a character from levels 1 to 50, 50 being the max that you have, with your first character, you're going to start earning what is called champion points, and these are put into Skyrim type skill trees that exist, and you can put them into things like passives. Most of these are pretty much passive abilities that make your character, you know, a certain percentage point stronger. So with your first character leveling up, I think the CP system goes all the way up to like 1500 or something like that. You earn them really fast. You can let me know in the comments below. Actually, I don't know how far up they go at this point, but they do go up quite a bit, and you can basically earn all the way up to that. So let's say with your first character, you get up to max level and you get up to CP level, champion point level, like 400 or 450. Well, when you start a new character and you level them up to level 50, immediately they have the same amount of champion points to spend as your main character. So instantaneously, although they may not have the gear of your main character, they're going to have the champion points of your main character, which is kind of how you judge the level in this game, which is an absolutely brilliant idea. Again, I know this is very foundational and it would be hard to rebuild games around this, but I really do think that every single game out there should take advantage of this system. I think it's brilliant, it's awesome, it allows you to level alts and not have to go through all the crazy gear grinds that most of the time you do in any other MMO. I think this innovation alone is worth giving this game like an A+. It's just really good. And then the other one that I find really helpful that, again, I don't know why other games don't do, are the Megaservers. The Megaservers are perfect. Literally, as soon as you log in, you choose US or EU, and then as soon as you choose that, there's just one server. There's no server shards, there's not all the sorts of different weird things where you gotta transfer servers to pay money and all that stuff. It's brilliant. It's like when you drive an electric car for the first time and then going back to driving a gas-powered car, you feel like you're driving a dinosaur. When you go from the mega servers of ESO to the sharded servers of like almost every other game, you wonder why there are still sharded servers. And the corrupted part of your mind goes like, it's probably just to make money on like server transfers, but it makes it so easy to play with friends. For me and my Discord, by the way, link in the description below, it's really nice because honestly, it's really cool to just like jump into a world, and if someone plays with you and they're in the US, you can just play together. You don't have to worry about servers. You don't have to worry about server-based guilds. It's just super simple. And so, hey, huge hats off to ESO. I freaking love this game. Well, hey guys, that is my quick review, the pros and cons of Elder Scrolls Online in 2022. Let me know what you think in the comments below. What did I miss? What did I get right? What did I get wrong? I love interacting with you in those comments below. So please leave me a comment or two. And if you liked the video, please like the video. If you love the video, please subscribe. It helps me know to make more content just like this one. I want to say massive thank you to our patrons. They help this channel not just survive, but also thrive. They are absolutely wonderful, absolutely fantastic people. Thank you guys so very much. If you'd like to receive these videos early, as well as be a part of a general Discord server, you get cool badges, you can join that Patreon in the link in the description down below. Well, friends, the last two things that I say are the most important things that I could say in any video ever, and it's this, is that you're more loved than you know, and you are so much more valuable than you realize. I hope you have an incredible day, and I will see you in the next one. Hey, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it. I want to let you know a couple ways to connect with me. First of all, we got an awesome Discord in the description. We've got a Patreon if you'd like to give to the channel and help support more video creation. And I am live on Twitch quite often over at twitch.tv/brightlifecommunity. Would love to see you there. Always love interacting on those live video streams. But I hope you have an incredible day, my loved and valued friend. Have an awesome one.